What's up, guys? Welcome back to ATP Sit and Talk. This is the first video podcast here with Gabriel Rafael Balasquide, my boy. What's up?
The one and only.
How's it going? This is my Puerto Rican brother here. We're here today so you guys can get to know Gabriel, what he does, who he is, the plans that he has going for All the Possibilities. And this is the first time I know I come out on video. I am the founder of All the Possibilities, Anthony J. What's up, guys? Big heart. This video is for YouTube, and there will also be an audio version of this for you guys to check out. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Gabriel Rafael Balasquide. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm 24 years old.
Just gotta highlight that.
It's a major important fact. I'm in school right now. I'm doing clinical laboratory science. I'm about to do my clinicals at UCLA Ronald Reagan coming up soon.
Congrats, man, on that. How do you feel?
Yeah. It's pretty. It's cool because like my whole life I was like in the mix of like finding exactly what I was gonna get done, and now that I'm close to like my actual goal that I set a couple years back, it's like getting more real and real. Yeah. And that's like really dope to like finally see the stepping stones and like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Did you find it hard in the beginning to like see it, or were you like?
Yeah, in the beginning, I would be like invested, and then be like, oh, I want to do this instead, and oh no, I want to do this, and I kind of found myself like pulling myself back from going forward because I was worried about like going into the wrong thing. And then I got to a point where I kind of grew up and realized like, yo, this is what I want to do, but I'll never do it if I don't like actually go forward and like push myself to continue. So that's kind of how I think about it.
What made you want to go for what you're studying currently?
It's actually, so like I always liked medicine. I like science and stuff like that. And like I don't want to be a doctor because I don't want to put that much like into it. Like my sister's a doctor and she put a lot of time and I figured like that wasn't where I was trying to go with things. But it's also something my mom does, and me and my mom are very similar people, and she like loves it, and I've shadowed her before and I've seen what she's done. And I'm like, I could do this, and like I see more potential in like what I could possibly do with the same kind of like thing that she's got going on.
Medical field, right?
Yeah, medical field. Yeah.
How many years did it take your sister to get that?
My sister did 4 years, so 8 years, and then she does like specialization and stuff like that. She's an optometrist, so she's like an eye doctor. Yeah.
Wow, so it runs in your family then, huh?
Yeah, kind of
stuff. That's cool though.
Yeah, most of our family's like into medicine and stuff like that.
Keeping it ongoing.
Yeah.
You haven't mentioned, are you the youngest or?
I am the youngest, yeah.
So you're keeping it in the family, right?
Keeping it in the family, yeah, exactly.
What are your plans in general with that? Like, where do you envision yourself going?
See, I see myself like
it's hard to think of. I know, right off the bat, it is.
For me, I think it's more of like a stepping stone. It's like a base for opening up opportunities. I have a lot of ideas and like kind of, I'm thinking like me compared to like my sister and stuff. I feel like I have more of like an artistic side, so I like kind of exploring that. But I feel like for that I need a very stable like setting stone. So I see it as like a place and an opportunity for me to like get my life in order. Like if I need to start a family, if I need to get like things going, buy houses, be comfortable and have that like my life set up so that I could have other like time and opportunity to like expand and like my creative side. I think
make your certain moves that you got to make, right?
Yeah, lock down like the kind of the base of things so that I could like flirt with different ideas I have and not be worried about like what am I going to do on a day-to-day basis.
I feel like that's a smart way to do it. It definitely is. How many courses are you currently taking right now?
Right now I'm only in 2 because of the whole COVID thing, and a lot of them are labs, so I can't like go in person. But when things clear up, I'll be like full, probably 18 units basically every day, Monday through Friday. And then I start clinicals, which is basically like an internship. I'm basically working like what I'm doing, but like live. And that's at UCLA, at Ronald Reagan Hospital, like on campus. And that's literally just like every day, like I'm going to work. It's not even like school anymore. It's more just like hands-on stuff.
Starting to get out there in the field now, right? That's cool, man. That's cool. Congrats to you, bro.
I appreciate it.
Being like a college student and just doing like everyday moves and stuff for yourself, how do you balance it? Like, what's your strategy? My thing is,
this is another thing that took me a long time. So I've been on my own for a while now, but one thing I realized is like you could easily get away with like, oh, like I could do whatever I want because it's like my life. Like I don't have anybody telling me what to do anymore. So my thing is like creating structure. Like especially like right now with like COVID, other people, they used to go to work, they used to go to school, they used to do this, that, and that's how their day kind of like laid out for them. So my biggest thing is like, no matter what, even on off days and stuff, is to really create like a plan. Like, hey, I'm gonna wake up
Creating
this
that
is
plan helps like crazy. It
So
does.
one thing I do a lot too is like goals. Like I'll say, hey, this is what I got to do, and I say, okay, Tuesday I'm gonna do these 4 things, and then with my free time I could do whatever I want, or maybe do a 5th thing. So then tomorrow, the next day, I have more opportunity, more time, and stuff like that.
That's a good way to balance it. To write it down like the day prior and to like
or even if I wake up late, like I don't freak out like, damn, I missed this opportunity. I'm more like, okay, let me readjust my plan, let me now move this into here, and kind of just I plan my week like on a day-to-day basis kind of.
Were you living off of campus at some point, or were you like living with roommates? Or
I've always kind of lived since I haven't lived with my parents. I've always lived kind of with friends. I've never lived with like strangers or people random like that. I've always been here and there, and like recently, like now I'm like over here in Huntington, and I'm just same thing. It's like family, friends kind of things.
This guy, he be house hopping. I'm like, bro, where you at? He'll be somewhere completely else.
Yeah.
Where do you draw inspiration from, man? Like just to do what you're doing and like just your life in general. Like where do you draw some form of that from?
I drive, or I feel like I get inspiration from like seeing like life, like not only like with people who are like
life,
just in general. Yeah, like you look at stuff, or you look at people, you look at success stories. Like it doesn't even have to be someone famous or someone rich or something, but you meet somebody and they have like a good, strong, solid story that you could relate to in certain ways. It's kind of like music. Like you hear a song, you're like, oh, I don't even know who this artist is, but I like what they're saying, and that kind of motivation and stuff like that, it kind of gives you like an aspect of like, hey, like anybody could do what they did, and so I could do whatever I want to do if I put my mind to it, you know?
Putting your mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of putting your mind to it, how would you say, like, what is the capacity of the mind itself? I think personally, there's no. I mean, there's obviously you can't look at something and make it like levitate. But I think in terms of like what you want and goals and stuff, the only like setback that really like that could really hold you back is like technically yourself. I think if you say, hey, I want to learn a language, you can be like, oh, it's going to be hard, or I'm self-conscious, people are going to make fun of me, or I'm going to sound funny, then you'll never do it. But if you sit there and you say, hey, this is my goal, and the only person that's going to stop me is me, and I'm not going to do that to myself, then I think you can accomplish anything you want, no matter what time it is. You know, there's people who start things when they're old, like 40. There's people in college who are in their 40s and 50s, and even if it's not going to be for having a long life of all these things, it's like certain motivation and certain goals and achievements. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's more like internal. It doesn't. It's your personal self.
Yeah,
that matters. If you can go back in time, this is an iconic question I asked in all the podcasts. If you can go back in time when you were about 15 years old, what would be something that you would tell yourself, knowing what you know now, just about yourself, or just certain things?
That's a deep one.
I know it's like
that one's
makes
hard.
you analyze it a bit.
First thing I would say is wear your retainer, because I had to wear braces twice. Wear your retainer. Super important. I had to get braces 2 times. The second time's not as fun as the first. But more so in life, I would say like to listen to not only your parents, but people who have been through similar situations as you. A lot of times, I feel like when I was young and growing up, I would listen to someone else, and since they weren't me, I didn't take what they said like for granted. I took it for granted. I was always like, oh, they don't understand, or they don't kind of get my situation is so much different. But in reality, like wisdom comes from like those who have gone through things, even if it's not the same. Any advice could be good advice as long as you put it to like your situation in a certain aspect or a certain way.
How do you take form of advice and interpret it for yourself? Like, how do you are you a person that you self-analyze, or do you write things, or do you happen to have some sort of form that you do?
In terms of like taking what people advice people give me?
Just advice in general.
Oh, advice in general. I think I just kind of reflect on like what I've heard and what I've seen, and then like you could apply that to like life. If someone's been through something, if someone says, hey, you go to the beach, like go this way, sometimes you won't listen to that advice and you experience it your own way. But my thing is to reflect on what they said and maybe compare the two and say, hey, okay, I didn't listen the first time, now I'm listening, and like kind of have these two situations that you've now experienced and kind of put them side by side with each other.
That's actually pretty good. Since you're here on the podcast for All the Possibilities, what is something that you would say is like what is all the possibilities to you itself?
To me, my favorite thing whenever we would talk about it is the openness, that it was never one thing. And that's the whole point. All the possibilities, it can't be one possibility. It's kind of like potential. Like there's no limit to it. There's no ceiling. There's no
cap.
No cap.
No cap.
But basically, it's kind of, to me, it's just like the kind of how like I live my life about it. Like you could wake up or start every day fresh and create whatever you want to create. You have unlimited potential in that your artistic self. And I feel like that's what you do. You take things and concepts that like people don't really think about, and you put it out there with and it's not like, oh, aggressive, like, oh, look at what I have. It's kind of just like, hey, this is what I have, and it just draws people in.
Just
like
be humble about it. Yeah, that's exactly.
It's like natural.
Exactly. I know that also this month is actually Mental Health Month. Did you know that by chance?
I didn't know that till now.
It's Mental Health Month. I have to cut that. It's Mental Health Month. What is your take on the mental mindset?
I think.
What's your take on that?
I think like your mentality is more important than, like, you know how people like go to the gym and they get physically fit, or they go for runs and get. I think you can do all that, and if you don't take care of your mental, you'll be weak no matter what. Because I think the biggest thing you can control is basically your mindset, your mind. And if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't talk to people, if you don't have those kind of connections, if you don't have somebody you could like vent to, then you're gonna eventually like explode. And that's how I think of it. I think the mind is like a grenade, and if you don't do the certain things you have to do, you'll eventually explode. Or like,
you don't take proper care of it.
Yeah, you have to take care of your health, like your mental health, before anything else, I think.
I feel like it goes down to a lot, dude, to be honest.
Yeah,
like it really, really does, because I'm a person, I've had my first share of mental up and downs like crazy. And
yeah,
I feel like, how old are you right now?
24.
I feel like, especially going into your like 20s, it really is what they say, like especially the beginning like of your 20s, like that's when you're like trying to figure stuff out. If the route you take is the best route for yourself.
Facts.
And then you get stressed about it because you're like, well, if I do this, what if I go, I stick to that, and then like something better comes. Like,
yeah, and that's something that like I was talking about is like, you can't. I think you have to get to a point where you kind of get to that maturity and mental state where you're confident in your decision, and no matter what, you don't think of it as a bad decision. Because say you do go down that wrong path, so what? You could just start over. You know what I mean? You could just start again, and there's nothing they could like tell you, oh, you can't do that. There's people who you could go to your 30 and be like, oh, I was loving what I'm doing, but now I want to do this, and switch it up. And my brother did the same thing. My brother was in marketing. He was working in New York. He was working with big companies, Amazon, all that stuff. And he said, okay, I'm not happy in this anymore. Stopped it. Went back to California. I was like, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy. And it was like a way different lifestyle. Way different lifestyle for him. Completely different. And
all the possibilities.
And he went from like, oh, having his life set in stone, but being like, hey, do I really like this? To being like, I don't know how next month's gonna be, but I'm having the time of my life.
Wow, yeah,
and I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Is he sticking? He's with that right now? Or?
No, that was years back. Now he's back in New York and he's working and stuff. But it wasn't about that was like all he wanted to do. It was that he needed to do that to like, in order to be like, hey, I lived that dream of mine, I think.
He's like, yeah, exactly. Just a chance to see
it. It's like Jordan. He went and played baseball. Even if he wasn't good at it, he can never go back and be like, damn, I wish I would have played baseball, because he actually did what he wanted to do.
You're a big sports fan, huh?
Yeah, big, yeah.
I happen to have the same shirt that he is wearing. One time, I used to work with Gabriel. He pulled up to work. We're both wearing the shirt.
Same shirt.
It's super funny.
Pretty funny.
It's a hard shirt, honestly.
Low key.
Go Lakers all day.
Facts.
Where do you like? What's the reason that you like sports, man? Like, I know like sports is like, it's an achievement. It's the history. It's what draws you to that. Like
me, I like sports because when I was young, I'm just a competitive person, I think. And my brother was older. My older brother, I used to want to compete in him and everything. I like to dance because my brother liked to dance, and I was like, oh, I want to be. We'd have dance offs, and I was like, oh, I want to win, so I want to become good at dancing. But more so, like, he played basketball, and I seen that kind of the camaraderie. I can't even say that word. Damn. I saw the family unit he created with his teammates, with his friends, and I saw that, and I thought that was really cool. And then to see him perform like an athletic activity, it's another thing. Is like, dang, not a lot of people could do that. And then that was when I was younger, and then I grew older, and I kind of appreciated the sports, like the mindset you had to have, the dedication, the will to be better than somebody else.
It's a strong ass mindset.
Yeah, you gotta have. And I look at people like Kobe. Like, Kobe's my biggest inspiration.
R.I.P. to Kobe.
His mindset was like that killer mindset. Like, I'm gonna work harder than everybody, because then I have no excuses if things don't work out. You know. And I think that's a good thing to live life by. Like, if you wake up at 10 or 12 and it's the afternoon and you're like, oh, and at the end of the day, you're like, damn, I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do. That's because you didn't have that killer mindset to be like, I need to wake up early so I could, like, attack my day instead of just going with the flow, you know?
Talking about that, do you believe in taking it day by day?
I believe in taking it day by day in terms of, like, in mental, like, not overthinking it and think. But I think you need a plan and have, like, a
plan, right?
Yeah, you have to have a plan. You can't just wake up and be like, oh, I hope, like, things aren't going to come to you.
You have to want them.
Unless you draw them, and you have to want them. And if you have a plan, then things can fall in line because of, like, energy and stuff like that. But you can't just wake up and hope that your whole day just happens for you.
You said draw to you and energy. Mm-hmm. Are you a big believer of, like, energy and like, manifestation?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. I think that it's the same thing as, like, if you wake up and if you're a positive person, I think you attract that. And it can be the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to attract $1 million, or, oh, I'm going to get my dream job right away. That's major stuff. That's after a long time, I think, of kind of keeping that attitude. But it's a small thing. If I wake up and I had a crappy morning, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to be negative all day, then I probably have a negative day. If I wake up and I'm like, hey, that sucks, but I'm going to change my mindset, and I'm smiling, and I'm having a good time, and I'm positive, maybe when I go out, I meet somebody who's like, hey, this guy looks cool, let me talk to him. That person now can fix my tire. Boom. Like, those kind of connections that you bring in, not only with energy, but with your mindset, I think can change your life. You know what I mean?
So overall, the mind is fucking powerful.
Exactly.
And take advantage of it.
Facts.
While you're young, even whatever age you're at, take advantage of the mindset of your mind, the capacity that you can reach. Don't even put capacity on that. There's no capacity. Just keep reaching and keep climbing. It's all nonstop.
Facts.
Right now, with the whole COVID stuff that's going on right now at the moment, as we are all going through the whole epidemic at the same time, how has that treated you? How's it been for you?
At first, it was like, oh my gosh.
I remember you telling me.
At first, it was like, oh my gosh. It was a mix of, like, panic and a mix of just, like, not knowing how to, like, live life in this, like, way where, like, you know, there's no social interactions. You can't hang out. Like, didn't want to go to Miami to visit my family because I didn't want to get them sick. Just that kind of, like, precaution, like, sense of life. I was not kind of prepared for that. But in the long run, I think it, like, showed me more of who I was as a person. Like, I realized, like, oh, cool, like, I don't have to do all these things, like, all this crap to, like, make myself happy. I don't have to go to parties all the time. I don't got to do all these different kinds of things. I could just live my own life with a small circle, and I realized, like, the things that matter. I learned to, like, cook more. I learned to, like, go outside and enjoy it. Before, I wouldn't go outside, I wouldn't care. Now I'm like, I'm going outside to get out of my house. But now I'm realizing, like, wow, look how cool, like, the earth and, like, the planet and stuff, small stuff like that.
You got into, like, self-analyze a lot?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Your family, they left right when it happened, or were they already in Miami?
No, basically my parents and my sister in Miami and my brother in New York, and they've been there for, like, 6 years.
They're in New York right now, really?
My brother is, yeah.
How's that been for him out there? Because I know New York had, like, a lot of cases.
It's pretty bad. But he's working still. But he's working from home, so he's staying busy even though he's home, which is a good thing. And he's been into, like, the whole, like, kind of developing, like, his own place, like hanging things up on the wall, like, kind of bettering his own aesthetic of his own place.
A lot of Amazon ordering.
Yeah, because it's like this is where he's spending his time. So, like, let's make it nice. You know what I mean?
He's just getting into the vibe of all that. What can we expect to see from you, like, coming in the future? Like, man, like, what does Gabriel have full of possibilities coming for himself?
I think once, like, I settle down, I get school done, and I get kind of my life together, I get, you know, being able to, like, give back to my parents, give back to my family, my sister, and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a range of, like, a dynamic version of me. Someone who's, like, willing to do more, willing to, like, travel, be like, jump on a plane, kind of live more like in a full life, like, no fear, you know what I mean? Kind of just, like, throw myself out there, like, oh, I'll get on a plane, go to Spain for 2 weeks just because I want to. I think I'll be more in kind of a position to, like, help more people, help people who are, like, less privileged, things like that, and kind of expand just, like, my mindset. And instead of learning about the same thing about school and medicine, and learn more about life, about spiritual things more, and kind of open myself up past the whole school stuff.
Are you religious?
Yeah, I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
I'm not as religious as I, like, once was or should be, probably. But yes,
do you pray?
I pray,
Yeah,
I pray.
How has did you grow up with your family Catholic or you
Yeah, I went to
yeah.
like Catholic school and everything.
It's that Puerto Rican stuff.
Yeah,
It's the
facts.
Latino stuff.
Facts. Yeah. So I grew up. I wore a uniform. I went to church every Sunday.
Oh yeah, the uniform too, really?
Facts. Yeah.
Do you feel like life itself has a deeper meaning than what we know?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think life itself is not explainable, but that's the whole pursuit of life, is to be able to try to explain it. That's why we try to do things. We try to wonder about everything. Why does this happen? Look at science. Everything's to like a hypothesis, and people are trying to figure things out. Why does this grow this way? Why is this color? But I look at us as just humans, and you realize that like
Exactly.
and I saw this in a documentary, and it was like a spider has like 10, 11 eyes or whatever. So the way they see the world is totally different than the way I see the world. So I think the same thing between individuals. Imagine if you're colorblind or blind or you're deaf. You experience life in a totally different way than me and you would. And even between me and you have your own experiences. I have my own experiences. We come from different places. Our day-to-days are different. The people we know are different. So I think everybody's life is so individual that it's like the whole point of life is kind of figuring out how to create your own version of like the perfect world for yourself.
For you in general, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a thing where with the brand, I have one of the logos is actually a spiral. I have a saying for it. It starts in the middle, and our life, it expands outward and outward and outward like a maze until we get to like, the right destination for ourselves, where that path leads to. Little fun fact.
That's pretty dope.
Man, a lot of concepts, man. A lot of concepts. I know you're also into fashion and stuff as well. Where do you draw a lot of your inspiration? It's like easy.
Yeah, I like fashion in general, just because I think it's like a way to like express yourself. And I think like when you dress, just like everything, you dress good, you feel good. And I think like my inspiration, I don't know, I just think I see things in like pop culture and rap and basketball and
You're very pop culture. Huh?
Yeah, very like I see old school, like the way Jordan dressed. I look at that and I'm like, oh damn, that's fresh. And like I kind of think like, okay, why not just have that around still? And another thing is like my mom growing up is very like into fashion. My mom always has the earrings and necklaces, always is shopping. She's the interior designer in her house. She makes everything. And I think that's kind of how I grew up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, wear this and this because it'll look nice. And then that's another thing. One of my favorite things is like, oh, you dress nice. And by that, it's like a compliment of like, oh, you take care of yourself. And that's how I think about it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I feel like the way you dress yourself, your appearance, like you have to, even though you don't want to, brush your hair, brush your teeth, look good. You know, it's a representation of yourself.
Yeah, facts.
Look good. Like, that's one thing that's going to help you just move, around day to day, and like you don't want to.
Or even with confidence, just like feeling like you don't have to even wear something. You don't even have to wear something that everyone's going to think is cool, but if you wear it and you feel like $1 million bucks, then you'll fucking have you'll be out there popping.
That's good. Yeah, that's cool though. I feel like you're a good like sum of pop culture and like just health and like a well mind. Like you have to have that balance. Do you feel like how's your 20s been treating you? Do you feel like the 20s? Because I was just briefly talking about that with you. How would you describe your 20s so far for you and anybody who's listening, watching us, that's going through their 20s at the moment? Like, what would be the best piece of advice, man, that you would say, bro?
I think it's like, so my 20s personally to start is like have been pretty awesome. You know what I mean? I've been in school, I partied, I did this, I did that. I explored, I traveled to go to Miami and went to Dominican Republic for my birthday. Just a lot of that. But it's less about that, but more about just realizing your own growth. Like, just to think like, oh, 20s it's a big range. 21 to 24, just that. Humongous difference.
It's a lot of stuff that happens.
I know people who are like, one of my roommates is 29. We're totally different people, and it's the same. Like, it's so close. It's so much different when you're 13 and 16. You kind of are different, but it's still that kind of same lifestyle. But you can make a big difference and be 22, and then by 25 live a completely different life. But it's kind of your choice if you want to take that approach.
Choices that we have to becoming the person that
And my advice to somebody who's like younger, even though I'm still 24, so I haven't gone through it all, but one thing that's helped me a lot is to surround yourself with different ages too. Like, don't hang out with just the friends you were hanging out with in high school. if you meet someone at work who's 27, or your friends has a cousin, or whoever you're with, is to like expand that, because like I've been living with two people who are like 29 and another one's in their 30s, and people are like, oh, that's weird because like that's like 6 years difference and stuff. But for me, it's like, wow, I realize how much I have left to grow. Like they're going through these things that I haven't gone through yet, but it gives me kind of like a motivation. Like I want to get to where they're at, so let me grind right now. Well, if I was hanging out with people who are just my age, I would never have that kind of ambition, because I would just be going through it at the same time they're going through it. So kind of, it's like having an older brother, you know, like learning from that person.
Yeah, and like older perspective.
Yeah.
That definitely is something that's good to have around, that helps and just get you the mindset of life. And that's one thing too, like my older brother, I've been hanging out with him more too as well, and it definitely does just help you to have like, I wouldn't say so much guidance, but just to have people around, you know, that help you throughout your day to day.
Facts.
Thank you though, bro, for coming out today on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Anytime, bro.
I really appreciate it.
Wash your hands, everybody.
Wash your hands. I was about to say, if there's any last thing you want to say to the podcast, any piece of advice, any vibes you want to put out, what can we expect? What's up with Gabriel? Where can we reach you at? What's the deal?
So first off, you can hit me up on Instagram. It's WHOAGAB.
Remember,
Gabby. That's
Puerto Rican.
So that's first thing. Second thing is, I know things are tough for people. I know that there's ups and downs every day, and there's a lot of uncertainty. But the best thing you could do is worry about yourself and take care of yourself personally. And then once you do that, take care of the people around you. Almost like when you're in an airplane, they say to put your mask on first. That's kind of how I think you have to take this kind of lifestyle right now. You got to make sure you wash your hands, take care of yourself, and then think about the people that your actions now impact. You know, if you're going out and you're partying and you're doing all too much crazy stuff, it might be cool and not affect you, but hey, when you go to the grocery store and you touch something and you put it back, think about that old lady who's going to come in there and her family. So think about others before you think about yourself. And other than that, check out the brand. It's popping.
Gabriel's in a model for the spring
I'll be wearing
shoot.
it. I'm going to be out there.
You guys will see him.
Yeah. I'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Always.
All the possibilities. Until next time, guys, thank you guys for watching this episode. You guys can check out the rest on Spotify, ATP, CLB, All the Possibilities, as well on Instagram. You guys can check it out at the link. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Stay safe.